You're probably in a state of still kind of suspended animation. You're thinking, are they gonna say, okay, we made a mistake? Made a mistake on this one. We made a mistake. Oops, we made a mistake. Oh well, we made a mistake. Don't you feel like that? I feel like I've been just thinking about this and spending so much time and handling this. I went to an event. This is so funny. The left, and for lack of a better term, I'll just call them the left. The left just assumes that they can say, "Oh, this is terrible." So I'm at this event and I hear this, "Oh, this is terrible." I said, "What's terrible?" "I've got a daughter." "What about your daughter?" "Well, she's got." "What did Trump say about abortion rights of women?" "Well," I said, "he didn't say anything about it. There's no, it's not." I said, "There's no Project 2025. What are you talking about? Tell me, did I miss something? I'm pro-choice too. I didn't hear anything about it. If you've got a problem, if somebody's going to try to ban abortion, it's going to be your state. Is your daughter going to have an abortion? Are you planning on having an abortion? What exactly are you talking about?" You've got to confront people in a nice way and say, "What are you talking about? When did he say this? When did Donald Trump say anything about women? Anything? Tell me. I missed it. I must have missed it. Please fill me in. I must be slow." These are the dumbest people I've ever met. They don't even know what they're talking about. They're actually, it's like these people that I have been retweeting and posting all day who are screaming and yelling for reasons I don't even understand. It's a mental illness. These are stupid people. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back. Let's have a great time tonight. Some fun and frolic. Make sure you're subscribed to Lionel Nation. Make sure you are subscribed to Lionel Nation. Dear, dear, dear friend, so glad to be here. So happy to be a part of this. But first, before we begin, this word from our sponsor. Have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? I recently saw a video he made, and I was shocked. He's in his 80s, and he's still kicking butt and working out and staying active. And what's even more shocking is he's stronger, he can work out longer, and even has plenty of energy left over for his grandkids. And he did this by just making one change. He says he still feels like he's in his 50s. His wife even started doing this one thing too, and she's never felt better. She says she looks and feels 10 years younger. Her body looks leaner, and she has energy all day. Now, Chuck made a special video that explains everything. And make sure you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/Lionel or by clicking in the link below this video. It will change the way you think about your health. Once again, that's chuckdefense.com/Lionel. And click on the link in the description below to watch the video now. You won't believe how simple it is. And just a reminder, the legendary Chuck Norris is a whopping 84 years old, and yet has more energy than people over half his age. He discovered he could create dramatic changes to his health simply by focusing on 3 things that sabotage our body as we age. Watch his method by clicking the link in the description below, chuckdefense.com/Lionel. You know, whenever I talk to people about this, it's so funny. I ask them questions. So where are you getting your information from? And you must do this in a very nice way. You must do this. Please, you must be an apostle of truth. Don't just sit back and be quiet. Ask somebody, what are you talking about? And they can't answer the question. They can't answer the question. What did Trump ever say? Where is your daughter somehow facing the peril of having her rights or her reproductive rights or whatever in any way impeded? Nobody's brought it up. Nobody. Look at this group. Look at this Mar-a-Lago. You think any of these people are going to, I hate to say it, are going to force their kids to have the baby with Pedro, the groundskeeper? Come on. I'm sorry. Abortion is a dead issue. Nobody cares about this. It's terrible, but nobody cares. Larry Summers, ladies and gentlemen, says, I'm so happy to be unburdened by what has been. Oh, you are so correct with this. Maurice Houston, her house says, no more Kamala or her aspirations. Now let's talk about a couple of things here, my friends. Did you see anybody see her concession today? Anybody see her concession? Anybody? Anybody? It's very important. Well, let me tell you what she did. It was the best speech she's ever given. Anybody see it? Gracie saw it. Do you agree, Gracie? It was the best speech she ever gave. Why do you think it is? It was the best speech she ever gave. Why do you think it is? Why? Let's talk about this. Analyze this. Think about it. It's so obvious. Why is it the best speech she ever gave? Why? Anybody? Huh? Oh, I know you know, but let's see if everybody else here knows it. You know? Anybody? Anybody know? Because the lie is over? The lie is no pressure. Okay, she was sober. I like this. Very interesting. I'm reading some of your rants. It's very, very funny. You're very, very close. You're very, very close. The lie is over. No pressure. You're very close. Very close. Stephen Lynch says Kamala was relieved. Yes, yes, yes. Relieved because of what? What? Why was she relieved of what? Unburdened by what's been, right? I understand that. But what is she? What? Okay, what about Leslie? Leslie says she spoke philosophically. Leslie, you're on to something. You're on to something. Okay, go ahead. We're close. We're close. How much money will she get? Obama wrote it. No, Obama's nothing. Obama's hurting. Obama's very, very hurting. Very, very, very bad. Because she's never been in control. Phoenix, you're on to something. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. Because she doesn't have to talk about policies. Because she close enough. Lone Wolf says because she won't have to be president. You are correct. That's the closest thing. Because she never wanted to be president. She never wanted to be president. Freedom says, in my lifetime at 70 now, last night was the second best day of my life. Watching the Trump win. Lionel number one was being married to my blessed wife of 35 years, still alive and healthy. Absolutely. This was this was good. I'm not going to go into things that have happened in my life, but a presidential election isn't even in the top 20. I'm sorry. I don't want to. I'm just saying I've had other things that I'm very happy about. Things that I think are far more important than an election every 4 years. No, but still, I kind of know. Sparky, the king of the jaundice view, says, keep Pompeo, Graham, and Cotton away from President Trump. Absolutely. I heard our good friend, Judge Napolitano and Colonel McGregor speak. I'm with you 100%. No, she never wanted to be that. She wanted to be, if you could say, okay, Mila, what would you love to truly be? What do you want to do? She would say, you know what I really like to do? I would like to host a show. I would like to go out and hug people. I'd like to maybe do a little, I'd like to talk about stuff. I'd like to laugh. I'd like to maybe cut an onion. I'd like to, if I really could, I'd like to write maybe philosophical, inspirational books. I'd like to talk about things where we get together and sort of, not be a guest, but just talk about, I like to say things about what could have been unburdened by what has been. I kind of like that. Her speeches were almost like high school rallies, pep talks. We're going to win. We're going to beat. I used to love to sit in during my high school years a Jesuit high school in Tampa. And I'd turn to my friend Scott during the whole time and I'd say, we have pep rallies. I said, well, what's in it for me? What? What's in it for me? If we go to Haines City and we beat them, what's in it for me? It's a game. We're going to forget about this. But what's my take? What's my, I mean, you want me to get excited to show pep. We have a pep rally. What exactly? And I never understood any of it. She would be great at that. She never wanted to be the president. She never wanted it. Never. She never felt comfortable. She never got into it. She just never. She's like that employee who just always showed up late, never really understood what was going on, never really cared. That employee who just never really got what it was all about, never really understood it. You know what I mean? That's her thing. Never really understood it. You dig what I'm saying? Never got it. Sort of, maybe kind of like, well, whatever. She didn't do it. And when I realized, I think Tampon Tim was there, right? He was crying, right? He was crying. He wanted, because he wanted to get the hell out of there. He actually thought he had a shot. He liked it being VP. Being VP is terrific. From him, from being a numbnuts, this guy with the jazz hands and that goofy wife, and he making to be to live in the observatory, to be the vice president. He thought, this is great. I don't do anything. She's in good health. I'm not gonna have to ever take over anything. I could just, pass bills and just drive around. I'm loving it. I'm a nobody from Minnesota. This is terrific. And he's very sad. She is so happy. And Doug is happy. And that creepy daughter-in-law is happy. They don't want this. They don't even want that. I mean, they're not going to have any, put it this way, I don't know if they're even entitled to any kind of Secret Service, anything. They are done with this. They are the happiest. Donna Fargo says, I'm the happiest girl in the whole USA. Okay, that's number one. Next, what President Trump and President Biden are going to discuss. Did you see this today? This is fantastic. Biden extended a congratulations because he's the president. Remember, he's the president. He extends a wish of thanks, whatever you want to call it, to Biden, two ex-presidents speaking. There's been 21 presidents who have had more than one term, and that could be part of a second term. FDR had part of the last term. I mean, 4 terms. There's Harry Truman, part of, there's different things. And it's called the curse of the second term. The curse of the second term. You're a lame duck. You never leave on a good note. Never. With the exception of maybe Reagan, sort of. Okay. What happens is the White House, the president always meets with the successor, the president-elect. 10 million or so votes less than 2020. Well, remember, I don't know if everything is done yet. I'll be honest with you. We're going to talk a little bit about this, but I have been less interested in the minutiae of this. Fine, give me the final number. That's okay. He won the popular vote and he won the electoral college. That's the best important. But let me go back to what's going on. Okay, so they're going to sit there. What do you think they're going to say? 2 ex-presidents. What do you think so? What do you think so? Barry Ellen Johnson says she doesn't have to produce her lies. I'm telling you, do you agree with me? She's happy. She's so happy. She was vice president. That's it. She came in July. She could always say, look, I didn't really have a chance. She doesn't care about legacy. Biden does. She doesn't. She never wanted that. She never wanted that. There's also going to be a top to bottom. It's like getting out of jury duty. Very good. It's like a top to bottom What do I say? It's like a top to bottom, for lack of a better word, oh God. Well, let's go back to what I'm saying. The president meets, and Joe Biden sits down with Trump, and it goes something like this: private, off the cuff, 2 ex-presidents, not the new guy coming in, not the he's been there. This is wild. You don't get this. You don't get this because normally you're the president, you win the first time, you meet with your successor, and then you win again. So you don't meet with anybody, and then you're out. Here, you're out, move over, Grover Cleveland. He's not consecutive. They're going to sit down, and it's going to go something like this. You turn the taping system, yeah, off, because they're all, I mean, the whole thing is wired. You know that. I cannot believe what they did to you, Joe. I can't believe. I know, Don. Can you believe this? Is this something? That was the worst thing I've ever thought, even remotely possible. How they did that to you is disgusting. Absolutely, positively disgusting. You were the nominee. You would have been formidable. And he says, well, I know I lost my curveball. Well, your fastball. Well, maybe, you know what? Maybe that's true. But this was unceremonious. They did this to you in 2016 with Hillary. And you would have been, this is how they would have commiserated. So what did he do? He said, you like what I did? What was that? The garbage line. Was that you? Of course that was you. Of course that was you. The garbage line. Absolutely. It was me. 100%. Now here's the best part. And this idea has been thrown around. Andy McCarthy in National Review talks about this. Listen to this. Joe Biden says, I'm worried about my legacy. I want to do something that really is one for the record books. I don't want to F these people like you cannot believe. So here's what I'm going to do. You ready for this? Okay. I'm going to do 2 things. Number 1, I'm going to pardon my son. What father wouldn't pardon his son? He's not going to go to prison. I'm going to do it. You understand what I'm doing? I'm going to pardon my son. Absolutely. I understand that. Evan Webb says, if I remember correctly, Ike did not talk to Truman. I don't know. I remember it was a bit terse. It was a bit terse. Indeed. Thank you. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pardon my son. Okay. I'm going to try to get somebody from Georgia to, Kathy Hochul. I think Kathy Hochul will do it too, because I think I can kind of grease the skids. And if I do it, and I can do it, it'll be my part of legacy. It'll be, Joe wore red yesterday. Enough said. Maybe. I'm kind of with you on that. I think the symbolism and the symbology and the semiotics was certainly there. Okay, so first I'm gonna pardon him as far as the federal cases go. I'm gonna ask Kathy Hochul to do the rest with the state and everything else. California, I could talk to. I don't know if there's a California state case or whatever, but anyway. And here's the best one. You ready for this? You ready? Biden's gonna say, and I'm gonna pardon you. Federal. You got to work on Georgia, and Hochul, I think, might send something your way here. I think Hochul will probably pardon you on a state level. I'll grease the skids for that. We'll get rid of this. We have to do something about lawfare. We have to do it. Everybody in the world of politics is realizing this was the genie that got out of the bottle. This was the worst thing that we could ever do. We have to do something about lawfare. So I'm going to pardon you. It stops. The whole Jack Smith thing kind of stops by virtue of that rule. He's out. But everything else, the any kind of federal case, certainly the Alvin Bragg case, she's going to have to do this. It would be the legacy of legacies and the biggest FU to these people anybody's ever seen. Nelson A says, my best friend of 25 years is giving me the cold shoulder and states he is moving out of the country because of Trump's win and my 2 times voting for him. Nelson, he's not your friend. He's not your friend. He's not your friend. Get used to it. He's not your friend. So better to find out this way. I'm sorry, my friend, for you. You thought he was different. He's not your friend. So don't worry about it. Sorry. Don't know what to say about that. I have a friend of mine who we were I told you we're talking all the time. Today I sent him a funny story about North Korean something or other. And I haven't brought it up what? I am not going to bring it up in the least. There's nothing to bring up. I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say. What am I going to say? Ha, I told you so. What am I going to do that for? I don't really care. Plus, I don't want to talk politics with him because he doesn't understand. So what am I going to talk about? I don't talk about religion. He's a Jew. I'm not. I don't talk about, faith. I don't really talk about anything with him. These people are not your friends. These people are not your friends. They're so bad, they just assume they can say stuff in front of you like, oh, this is terrible. Why is it terrible? How do you know I didn't vote for him? Your vote doesn't count. Screw you. We're lefties. We're superior to you. Well, you know what? You lost. Now, let me tell you else. This is another one, too. This is a great story. There was all of this data that was going around that was driving me absolutely nuts. They're looking at the exit data. He clobbered her. And here's the best part, too. She did worse than Biden did in 2020. Worse. She lost. Okay. Let me show you one particular demographic that's very interesting. Sparky says, I think that FDR didn't speak to Herbert Hoover during the inauguration. Don't know about Ike and Truman. Didn't speak with is one thing. Normally, though, you don't have to be. Well, certainly Thomas Jefferson and Adams hated each other. Both died on the same day. Isn't that something? But this is going to be different, Sparky. This is 2 people, 2 ex-presidents. Remember, 2 ex-presidents meeting, not the president-elect who's never been the president. They both know the secrets. They know what's going on. They know where everything's hidden. They know all the dirt. There's a story that goes when you're a president for the first time. You walk in and you have your you have your valet and that sort of thing. But you have somebody who says, here's what you need. If you need anything, you push this button. This is the gallery. If you want something to eat, you don't have a key or any of that kind of stuff, but you want to find out where things are going. The great Bill Hicks, the comedian, tells a story that is so interesting. I think it's so worthwhile. Bill Hicks tells a story about the president comes in, and as they are sitting down and explaining where everything is, the Secret Service comes in and says, Mr. President, I want to show you something before you forget. And they pull the drapes down, and they bring out this old-fashioned kind of like a 8mm, 16mm, like an old projector, one of those. And they turn the lights off, and they pull up the screen and says, watch this, I want you to see something. And it's November 22nd, 1963, President Kennedy, and it is shown via a vantage point that nobody's ever seen before. It's as though it's from the sniper's point of view, and nobody's ever seen this point. Nobody's ever seen this perspective, ever. And then it's the tragedy. The lights go on and they say, any questions? And that's one thing you understand. Remember how they had people, there was a guy who landed a plane in the front lawn. There was a guy who breached the corridor with Obama. And I've said this kind of in passing, but President Trump needs ninjas. Dimitri B says, what a joy to read the news today. Oh, yes, it was. It absolutely was. The president needs to have either somebody from the, I guess the Blackwater, whatever his Voss's son or whatever the name, But this guy to come in, he needs his own particular special. I'm dead serious. His own specific security detail. Do you agree? Of course you do. Now the next group, next story. As I was saying, this is the most fascinating. They look at all these people. The group of people who represented the most significant group, now perhaps for the first time, in terms of number, population density, critical worth, etc., etc., etc. But the group that was the most important, the group were Latinos. Latino or Latino, where they say Latino. You have to say it the right way. The Latino Americans represented for this particular faction, this particular election, factions and demographic segments that nobody has ever seen before in terms of the numbers. Next, what is important to note is that they represented a group of people who were not themselves offended by off-color jokes. They were not in line with, or nor could they be cajoled or wheedled or lured by telling them that Biden was behind amnesty. They didn't understand what does amnesty have to do for us? Why do we want to? I'm not for amnesty. They also do this thing which people always make a mistake in doing. They confuse Puerto Ricans with South Americans, with anybody here who is a Latino will understand. In fact, the word Latino is a word that's not even used. Slaphead says, what can we expect all these celebrities to leave the country? Never. They're never going to leave the country. They're never going to leave the country. You are going to see the end of them. Bette Midler supposedly deactivated her phone. We don't care.
Oh, did you hear that people are unsubscribing from Amazon?
People are unsubscribing from Amazon because Jeff Bezos called Trump to congratulate him. He doesn't care. Jeff Bezos, you're not going to tell him what to do. He owns the Washington Post. He lost $77 million last year. And these people think they run the show. I did an interview with my friend Bob Cudler, who was an investment guru. And we talked about it. I said, Bob, in fact, it's up on here. I said, what is the word? He said, it's a realignment. It's a realignment. Everything is new. Everything is new. Donald Trump spoke to Latinos and Latino women and Latina in a way like a human being, like an adult. He didn't talk to them about ways, well, you're all for. When we were in Queens this weekend, there's more Chinese, and they don't want people coming in here illegal. They're all going through the rule. They feel no kinship, not because they're not Latino, but the Latinos don't know what this is. They have nothing to do with a Guatemalan or a Mexican who comes here who can't speak English and has a bunch of kids and wants to saturate the school system. They say, hey, he speaks Spanish. He's one of us. This is lunacy. So this moron, this degenerate, this phoebe, this Boeotian, Joe Scarborough suggests that the reason why Latino men did not prefer Kamala was because of sexism and misogyny. And it's like, no, it's because of the fact that she sucked. And finally, there was a great me. Please follow me at Lionel Media on Twitter. I've got a lot of good stuff. The word retarded is coming back. Mark my word. I don't know if that's a good thing because people confuse the word retarded with making fun of the mentally, handicapped, and that's not true. But she is basically a retardate. Lori Cook says Press T talks to them like they're Americans. Yes, President T. Yes, Lori, that's precisely right. Still running around naked. Ed Wynn says Rush Limbaugh must be smiling and proud of Trump and our fellow Americans. Absolutely. And you know who else I think would be, I hope, smiling and looking down and whatever that phrase is. It's his brother Robert, who was the greatest guy ever. Robert Trump was the best. You would love this guy. Funny, sweet, nice, genuine, smart, absolutely aces. But anyway, so what's happening is they still don't get it. So from top to bottom, they're going to change the way people think about this. Now, let me tell you what's going to happen next. And listen to me very, very, very carefully. President Trump is going to be extending his hand, and he's going to pick up the phone, and he's going to talk to Vladimir Putin. And we're going to say, enough with this stuff. Understand, as my friend Bob Kudla said, you better get all of your investment, lock it in now, do it before January, because January, you want to, this is when everything changes. This is when they start basically playing with, how do I say this? Basically unearned profits and blah, blah, blah. And make a long story short, there's a recession coming. And Trump knows it and everybody knows it. So everything has to be done and locked in now. Do you hear what I'm saying? Locked in now. There's a couple of things you got to worry about too. As I was saying, dock strikes. Look for the dock strikes not to be a problem in Republican governor states. New York, Florida, big port cities with DeSantis. But with somebody here in New York with Kathy Hochul, in California with Gavin Newsom, because what DeSantis said was, if we have any kind of a strike, I'll call in the National Guard. They'll unload the that's a different story. It takes the slightest little hiccup. So if all of a sudden deals are made and a rapprochement occurs with Russia, guess what happens? Price of oil drops. That also affects profits. Remember, you don't necessarily, as an investor, have the same interest as a consumer. Unfortunately, it changes drastically. Do you see MBS? MBS is talking. Mohammed bin Salman, he's talking to Trump. Mohammed bin Salman hates Biden, hates the Democrats with a passion, especially because of that Khashoggi stuff. Right or wrong, I'm not going to get into this, but somehow they had your buddy Biden release information as to MBS's involvement with the dismemberment or whatever of Khashoggi. So this is changing. BRIC summits. They're going to be sending $6 billion right now, immediately to Zelensky. You've got the military-industrial complex are going to be freaking out because this all changes. You've got NATO freaking out with Victoria Nuland. I'm telling you, little glitches, little things, little adjustments, little micro adjustments, right? Micro movements. So what you need to do now, from now until the end of time, is build up a battery in your home, in your available. You don't have to go full tilt. They always make prepping out to be like you're a lunatic. But remember, food, water, energy, gold, and ammo. Because if you think that these people, that the shadow government and the I guess the ruling class can't get to things, you're out of your mind. Preparewithlionel.com. It's happening. Don't think everything's groovy. Don't think like, well, it's a lot better with Trump, no doubt about it. But don't think for a moment. There's also the notion of inclement weather and the like. And also, did you see mypillow.com's our own Mike Lindell sitting with Rudy Giuliani? God bless him. Show Mike your love and show yourself love by going to mypillow.com, promo code Lionel, and see what you have. It is the most incredible stuff available there, my friends. Absolutely incredible. Now, while we also move around and we, oh, by the way, look for that tile thing, honey, when you get a chance, so I can check the battery on that. Couple of things here. I forgot to say, top to bottom, the Democratic Party, the leadership, the higher ups are asking themselves the question, how did this ever happen? How did this ever happen? You understand this? Larry Cuck says, Fred and Robert Trump proud of their little brother. I'm in PJs making special cookies. I love America and y'all. Special cookies, huh? Huh? Special cookies. I know what you're making. President Trump, our country, the world dodged another bullet last night with his reelection. Trump should avoid Dallas or the Ford Theater. Oh, absolutely. Basil Beshkov. I know we don't want to joke about it, but you're absolutely correct. And I think they are working on putting together the epic administration ever. Your thoughts? Oh, I do. Absolutely. What he needs to do, and what I believe he is doing, and you bring up a very good point, is I believe he is looking at something which is very important, and that is to learn from the past. Let's go back a little bit. Two things before I forget. The Democrats are realizing, what are we doing? What are we doing? Who are these people running the show here? Soul says, Uncle L, you magnificent SOB. We did it. Thanks. That's right. And remember, just so that you know this, I told you, I never had any doubt about it. I never did. How much and all this kind of stuff. I told you. The thing that I doubted, thing that I worried about were the ballots. They could have fixed it. We not only dodged the bullet, they just didn't do this. It's like if you go on vacation and you came home and you realize we left the door open. Not that burglars need the door open, but let's assume, and you weren't burgled. You could have been, but you weren't. Does that mean you have nothing to worry about? No. Does that mean the next time you go on vacation, leave the door open? No. It just means that you dodged a bullet because they could have done so much with ballots. That scared me the most. I wasn't worried as much about the machines, though there were stories left and right. And this is the most important. But I told you this. I told you because this was a different story. Sparky says, even if you're pro-war, divide the trillions of dollars spent on wars by the population of the U.S., then think of how much that would be for each U.S. citizen. Absolutely. And by the by, you do know, Sparky, that there is no money that is given. It's just created. That money could go to us. Absolutely. Stephen Lynch says, Harris only won in states with no voter ID? Question mark. I could be. 27 York Row says, what about the J6ers rotting in prison? An excellent point. We need an accounting of these people. How many are still there? What are they doing? But I don't want to miss this point. I want to meet with the Democrats. And I want to tell them something. You may not like this, but we are Americans. And the reason why you lost is very simple. She sucked. Please, no puns. She was the worst candidate anybody has ever seen. Worse than anything anybody could ever imagine. Dennis Carr, ladies and gentlemen, says, where will Harris go now? Will Trump drain the swamp this time? The swamp will take generations to drain. What she will do is she will bestow the love. She is very, very loved. She will go on The View. She will maybe have a TV show. She will write a book. They're going to pay her in the back end. They're very good about that. What do you think, honey? A Netflix deal? Maybe a podcast? She loves that. A book? Boards? She'll be maybe a professorship or something. She might run for some other, who knows, maybe a California senator, whatever it is. She loves it. No heavy lifting, nothing involving really, late at night worrying, just anything where she can just speak in platitudes and not really be specifics. Ms. Lauren says, Scott Pressler got the Amish to come out in full force. Pennsylvania to Trump. Thank Elon, Scott Pressler, and Amish. They saved America. I hope something happens to that young man. And I think he is one of the best voices and spirits. We follow each other on Twitter, and I think he's tremendous. Absolutely, positively, 100% tremendous. But somebody needs to go to the Democrats and say, you've got to understand something. Number one, she's horrible. Let me ask you a question. Yes or no? Could anybody have beaten Kamala in this race? Curious Who says, oh, we the people are back in charge now. Larry can't cook. Thank you. Could anybody have beaten her? Or just Trump? If anybody else ran, if Ted Cruz ran, or anybody, just go down the list. Could anybody have won? I say yes. It had nothing to do with Trump. She was horrible. And they won't recognize this fact. She was beyond horrible. She was terrible. She was so you can talk about the Latino men all the while and all the exit polls. They won't recognize the fact. But then again, if I were to go on The View, and by the way, I have no clips from The View. I don't want to see it. I don't want to give him any credit. We'll just talk about him in general. It's just a stupid show. In my administration, I would say you are never going to ever allow anybody in my administration or President Trump's to mention The View ever in any circumstances whatsoever. Slaphead says, look for Kamala to have a TV show a la Oprah and Ellen. I think so. Or something, a version, maybe some streaming platform. Is this the end of Obama and the fragile legacy? Yes. He's done. He's finished. The whole thing is done. Sparky says, the money is created on the backs of everyone who uses U.S. dollars. Resulting inflation is a tax on their labors or the currency exchange for the dollars. And what it is basically a series of numbers put into the Federal Reserve, and that's it. Just like the billions that we gave to Iraq. We just created it out of thin air. Barry Taylor says Trump and Elon are tossing around the ideas of playing off the national debt with crypto. Could very well be. Crypto is going to go 100K per Bitcoin, I should say. I can too, boo. Thank you. I can too, boo. All right. If I were to go, like, let's say on that view, I would say, well, first, maybe you don't know this because you all are idiots to begin with, especially you, Joy. But Kamala is an idiot. You did notice, did you not, that she never said anything? And if they say, yes, we know, fine, I feel better. Sonny Hostin, I don't know what your story is. I don't know what you're here for or what you're paying, but this view world apparently was looked at by people and attempted to be replicated in terms of trying to repeat the thoughts. That's number one. Number two, this is the most important thing in the world. We are going to see the last route, the last sortie, the last coterie of the YouTube screamers. Edwin said, did late night comedians learn anything? No, they don't care. They're going to be gone too. That's over with. As we speak, the DNC folks are saying we have to redo everything. Number one, this coordination, it made it worse. SNL helped nothing. Will Ferrell, Cranston, Harrison Ford, just go down the list. There's this wonderful thing. Please go to my YouTube. Excuse me, my YouTube. You're on YouTube. Please go to my what the hell is it called? It's a very tired day today. My X. Please go and look and see for yourselves the names of these folks. They're some of the greatest things ever. By the way, savantophilia is sexual attraction, arousal, and attraction to mentally challenged and deformed. Which you probably didn't know this. Junk yogurt is, excuse me, junk yogurt is out of his mind. I want to show you this one thing right here. I'm going to give you a list. And by the way, you can see pictures from the usual subjects. Oh, and today I will tell you this. As Kamala was speaking, lo and behold, at HU, with that idiot who said, go Harris. I don't know what that means. A little squirrel ran out. A squirrel ran out and took over the area. It was Peanut. Fred, of course, is nowhere to be found. Also, good news. Good news, which is the most important thing. George Gascon, this Soros prosecutor, is out, finished. But I want you to see something here. I want to give you the names of all of these people. I have a list of all of these. You can't believe the number of people, these idiots in Hollywood who actually say that they want to leave. And those idiots from the Avengers, by the way, they're probably paid, these people, a minimum of 100K, a minimum. You see what I'm saying? A minimum. Like, I don't think that, I guess it's not here. I don't think that Dick Van Dyke was, I don't think he cares one way or the other. I just think he needs the money. Scott Baio today. Scott Baio and Sabato Jr. were kind of sort of a little sad. They really were ditched, really were hurt, and they're very, very upset and they're angry because they came out for President Trump at first and were sidelined and just absolutely excoriated. I want to get this list. It doesn't really matter. But it's everybody you can imagine. All of the horrible people who claims, whatever. I'll let you figure it out. In any event. So they all claim they're going to go. I don't think anybody matters. I don't think anybody cares one way or the other, whether they go or not. Faye 801 says, have you seen the squirrel that ran across the stage before Kamala speak? I just said it. Absolutely. Please go to my YouTube, my X at Lionel Media, and I've got it for you. Stan's World says they could remove Biden, make her POTUS, and charge Trump with January 6 crimes. Now this could happen. Okay, let's talk about that. Okay, first and foremost, how do we say this? Before we do this, Sparky says they can print any amount of money for war, but won't print it to help or invest in the American people infrastructure. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, I'm with you 100%. They don't care. We mean nothing to them. And Sparky, as you know, the money for this weaponry goes into the pockets of their donors and the war profiteers. Now, let's talk about this. Our good friend, who is this? There we go. Stan's World says they could remove Biden, make her POTUS, and charge Trump with January 6 crimes. Now, this could happen. Okay, couple of problems. Number one, as was the case of Mr. Oh, look at this. Stephen Lynch says, thanks for last night. Me and mom enjoyed it. Wonderful. We got more people last night. And by the way, how about a big hand for Mrs. L? She was just my rock, going through this stuff and helping me with this. Okay. Right now, January 20th. All right. So we have about 2 months and 2 weeks. 2 months and 2 weeks. Joe Biden, if he wanted to, could tell Merrick Garland, prosecute Trump, whatever, 2 months and 2 weeks. They've already said, this is an upcoming president. We're not going to charge you now. They could theoretically. January 6th is over. January 6th is in the world of Project 2025. Doesn't exist. I mean, there's a Project 2025, but it has nothing to do with Trump. Abortion, women's rights, doesn't exist. Doesn't. January 6th, about his involvement, doesn't exist. Whatever happened to that Epps guy? I think he was suing people for defamation. Whatever happened? Whatever happened with the Ashley Babbitt case? January 6th was basically, they didn't have a parade permit. That's all it was. It was nothing. Absolutely, positively nothing. But everybody in the Democrats were told, you're going to make this out to be like something that nobody has ever seen before. Also, Jamie Raskin, ladies and gentlemen, Jamie Raskin, that creepy, ghoulish Jamie Raskin was the one who basically said, and we're going to do this to Trump. They shut him up so fast. They're saying, not now. This guy is going to be the president. We need him. They lost the majority of the Senate, flipped, and most probably are going to lose the House too. Why are they doing this to him? He can make our lives now even more miserable because now he knows what to do. So let's see what happens with that. It's going to be fascinating to see what does he do with Israel and what does he do with Ukraine and what happens when he sits down with Putin. When you see them together, everybody was calling Trump MBS, the BRICS countries. Netanyahu's doing his best. They're going to, mark my words, this is a losing battle. He's not going to say anything in public. He's not going to use the G word. But remember, the ICC and the ICJ are barreling forward against Israel. They are not kidding. They are not going away. The world. And now President Trump's going to say, everywhere I go, they're asking me, well, what are you going to do about Israel? What are you doing? Okay, but I got to make a deal. We got to talk about Israel. Okay. The first time they start risking tankers, the Houthis, Strait of Hormuz, this is going to be fish or get off the pot. Fish or cut bait. That's going to be fascinating. And as Sparky and I have said, you don't know anything about that. You've never heard a thing about that. Now, the good news is I say, thank God. The good news, more than anything, is that he has a great contingent of people to help him this time. A great and glorious contingent of people who are going to be willing to help him. And Bobby Kennedy, did you see his sister, that Carrie Kennedy? Dear God, they make this stuff up about how he's so demented and deranged. I despise those Kennedys. Notice how they reeled in that Jack Schlossberg. Either that or they gave him some kind of therapy or treatment or rehab. He was tweaking or something. He was a nut. Remember that? When he was out there screaming and yelling, they reeled his ass in. Caroline is nobody to be messed with. The Kennedys are through. And Trump's not going to forget that. Trump's not going to forget this. Lori Cuck says, tariffs slow globalization. Trump is my hero. Absolutely. And I hope somebody says, Mr. President, you better do something about Mr. Gates. You better do something about Klaus Schwab. You better understand what the World Economic Forum is. When Trump gets on something, when you explain something to him, he becomes laser focused on it. Geoengineering. I would put Dane Wigington immediately in the cabinet, right there. Not the cabinet, but special advisor. Geoengineeringwatch.org. Do this again. Geoengineeringwatch.org. It is the most important and critical site and source for you to learn everything regarding geoengineering. Never say chemtrails. Never say chemtrails. Never. Do you understand this? Never. Never, ever, ever say chemtrails under any circumstances whatsoever. Never say it. Never refer to it. Never. It is considered by many now to be a conspiracy theory, which means I don't know what. Anyway, we will get to that. First things first, he's got the best people there. And what changed everything was Elon Musk. Soul says DJT said he would fire Gary Gensler, head of the SEC, on day one. Do you know if POTUS has that authority or power? SEC, I would imagine he would. I'm sorry, I think he would. You know what he has a difficult time, I think, would be the Fed. The Fed. Fed chairman. That's a different story. Because, in fact, I remember Alan Greenspan was asked specifically, who can fire you? He said, nobody. Nobody can fire me. Fire anybody. Or fire the head. Now, let me stop. First, stop all this talk. I know you're excited. But I want you to still take this in. Do you really understand what it's like that he won again? I know this sounds stupid. Do you truly understand that he is president again? Susan says, congratulations, best wishes from New Zealand. Thank you. How about what's that toothy broad who they made her a dame, knighthood for her, what do you call it? Damehood. That one, that toothy lunatic who couldn't let people go on the beach. And oh my God. You got to get rid of that right away. So anyway, listen to what I'm saying. I can't believe he won. I can believe it. I knew it. But I can't believe he's been through all of this. I can't believe it. I can't believe that we are doing that. He withstood it. And for her to make the concession speech today, it was very good. And the reason why is because it was well written and she could talk about, and we have to keep fighting. Again, it's that what do I say? It's that crazy kind of high school pep talk nonsense. That's what she's the best at. You will, for the most part, never see her again. You will never see Booty Giggity Giggity again. You will never see Corinne Jean-Pierre again. She ain't going to like MSDNC. She just doesn't have it. Sorry. Jen Psaki, maybe. You're going to see a complete and total collapse of late night. You're going to see probably CNN change so drastically, either platform or positioning. Zaslav's going to put an end to that one. Sparky says Petrodollar was a genius Nixon idea. Developing world developed, created a convenient increase in dollar demand, offsetting inflation and enabling a painless dollar printing for years. Biden ruined it. I remember when Henry Kissinger and Saud basically created the petrodollar right around the time of OPEC. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What are we going to do about wars? We've got to close down. There's no reason for us to have 800, bases. I mean, it's ridiculous. We have to shut everything down. We have to change the complexion and the tenor and the spirit of this country. We are hawkish. We are bellicose. We are warring. And it's got to stop. And it's got to stop now. Seriously. No kidding. No kidding around. Now, my friends, one more thing. As great as everything is, and all this financial talk and everything is terrific, there's going to be a recession coming. And this is not the president's fault, but he knows what to do. And we're gearing ahead. If you know somebody, yours or somebody knows, if you are up to your neck in debt, credit cards or otherwise, listen very carefully for this, and it could save your life theoretically. Listen to this. New reports reveal that the average person has $8,674 in credit card debt. Plus, the total average consumer debt is a shocking $104,215 between mortgages, auto loans, student loans, credit cards, and unsecured loans. Unfortunately, without outside assistance, many will continue digging themselves deeper and deeper into the hole of debt. I've advised and counseled friends and clients for years who want to take back control of individual debt about this secret weapon that has helped so many consolidate everything owed into one affordable monthly payment. They even helped negotiate a settlement agreement that will allow you to pay less than the total balance. Listen, they settled over $275 million in debt, and they've helped people become debt-free in an average of 28 months. I've had such an incredible experience referring clients and friends that I wanted to partner with them here and introduce their services to you, my loyal Lionel Nation family. If you want a helping hand to get out of debt, I absolutely, positively, and strenuously recommend booking a free consultation now by going to nodebtwithlionel.com. Look at the address. Once again, that's nodebtwithlionel.com. Use the link I've provided under the title. Listen to me. You can take control and learn how to get out of debt now. This morning, Mrs. Ellen and I were saying to each other, he won. He won. And I understand it intuitively. I'm still fascinated. As Sparky says, much of our lives were prosperous in the U.S. in the backs of the developing world because of the petrodollar. I hope we go back to that. It's going to be changing drastically. The first thing is we got to get rid of these stupid climate accords. Shut them down. This is the biggest fraud ever. Shut down EV. Do you know what was averted? If the president were involved, he could stop. Remember, they were going to get rid of pizza ovens, fans, gas stoves. They were going to go fully electric by the year such and such. That is done. I drove into this. We had to go to a Target, believe it or not, just very quickly to buy something. The only thing available was a Target, which I was never too crazy about because of their BLM affiliation. But anyway, they had these Tesla charging portals or hubs, and I'm wondering, what am I supposed to? Are you supposed to go take your car to a? How long does it take to fill up? I don't know. Do you bring your car there and you leave it, or you run in and plug it in? I don't know. The batteries themselves cost more than you can imagine. That's not going to be done. Climate, global warming, climate change is absolute a joke. It is a cover. It is a means by which they are, Marie Strong and Al Gore started this, where you were going to replace or to facilitate carbon trading, carbon exchanges, track and tax, cap and trade, all of this to create carbon as the commodity and carbon exchanging as this new artificial commodity where everybody would be allowed or allotted X amount of units per year. At the end, if you did not use them, your carbon footprint, you could exchange them on the market. It was a scam and a lie, and it was absolutely a joke. Sparky says they outlawed gas trimmers, lawnmowers, etc. in California. Absolutely makes no sense whatsoever. And here's the best part. The idea that we would be forced to somehow, because they did this by virtue of years and years of this lying and this mendacity, this absolute nonsense that they created with how they were going to protect the little polar bear and the mommy huddling together on an ice cube that used to be an iceberg. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. I want to put an end to that. Get rid of it. It's become a religion. Get rid of it. Next, put Bobby Kennedy in charge of everything involving immunology, vaccines, everything. Everything. Next, find out how Wikipedia and fact-based groups have basically pirated the fact information. If I am going to create something and I am not going to provide for you the opportunity to change, alter, delete, especially when I put up in front this idea that says this is not to be trusted. Just like if you had a credit report or you had some bad number, there has to be something in which you have to be able to appeal it, to change it. What if somebody's putting the wrong information, especially with something like this that's been used as authoritative? Sparky says, how dare you? Indeed. Where is she? How dare you? Where is that woman? Vivek Ramaswamy, Tulsi Gabbard. Bring everybody in. Tucker, Megyn Kelly, anybody that drives these people crazy. But Elon Musk, God bless Elon Musk. God bless him. God bless him. It changed everything. God bless this country. And I hope that he goes through with a machete. I want people to cower, not to go after people. What did they say? He was going to get the army or the military? No. But if you're standing in the way of our individual freedom, our individual expression, our individual economic and financial freedom, we will destroy you. I want them to shut down the Department of Education, shut down the Department of Commerce, shut down the Department of Energy, shut down. We don't need these. As my friend Bob Cudless says, if you're going to have the Department of Energy, or why don't you have it in like, Texas or Oklahoma City? Why do you have it in Washington, D.C.? Why don't you go to where the hub of this is? Infrastructure, bullet trains. Might be too late for that. But transportation changes the world. Lori Cuck says, all part of the plan. Well, we'll see. But my plan may be different than your plan. All right, dear friends, I love yous. You are the best. Lori, thank you. Sparky, thank you. Susan Newman, Soul, I thank you. Mr. Lynch, Faye 801 Stan's World. Everybody, Edwin's is Sparky is a Slaphead, Curious 2, Ms. Lauren, Dennis Carr, 27 New York City Girl. I thank you. As Laurie Cox, Bull Trader, Basil Rashkoff, K. Gray, Dimitri, thank you. Nelson A, thank you. Evan Webb, Freedom as I eructate, Larry Summers, and the lovely and talented and enigmatic Maurice Houston. Thank you so much. Oh, dear friends. Wait a minute. Hang on a minute. Leslie says for the Greta impersonation. Oh, I miss her. I could be in school. How dare you? Oh, I miss her. She's about, what, 40 years old now? Sparky says, fun fact, both Ukraine and Israel have taxpayer-funded healthcare. U.S. taxpayers. Very good. And that is changing, especially with the unceremonious exit of the defense minister. But we'll talk about that again, my friends. Please follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. She's got some of the best stuff for parents, students, citizens, lovers of liberty, and people who want to do something to make a dent in the world of child predation, human trafficking, and the like. Lynn's Warriors. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. Thank you so much. God bless America. Can breathe a sigh of relief. See you tomorrow, 8 a.m. Until then, my friends, remember these words. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Dead, dead.